Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ryan Pearcy from Turntide Technologies. To give you guys a little bit of a breakdown to understand this, Turntide Technologies is the parent company of VES-Artex. So Turntide provides a lot of the intelligent solutions, some different motor applications with VES, and utilizes VES's experience in the dairy industry to bring world-class solutions. We'll talk about that a little bit. But we want to talk more than anything about something that's really a problem today in the dairy industry. And it's really a problem in all of ag, not just dairy, but I think specifically with dairy, there's some things that we can do to help bring an effective change, and a change that'll help cost optimization as well as profitability. And it's a big, long phrase, so bear with me on this one. And I'll break down exactly what it means, right? Integrating and optimizing data to drive an animal-centered environment. What the heck does that mean? We're gonna figure it out together here. All right, so give me a second. I think it's important to understand really quick, what does an animal-centered environment actually mean, right? So VES-Artex has kind of had this as our motto, understood this with a lot of feedback from veterinarians that we have on staff, going out and understanding from case studies, talking to dairymen. The animal-centered environment makes sense in a lot of ways, and what it really does is it's focused on the cow, right? The cow is producing what we get to make income. It's producing milk. We're going to focus on how to make sure that she's maximized and the quality of that milk is good. Why and how? By affecting how she actually lives, her environment. So everything from, does she stay cool? Does she stay cool consistently? Is she comfortable? Does she have easy and good access to feed? Is she able to get in and out of the parlor, to be able to go to the holding pens? Is she able to go back and forth to all the pens? Is there any kind of issues with that? If you can maximize that, you can bring value to that dairyman. It's something that we've had in our motto. We understand this. In fact, we've taken this beyond the traditional idea of the guy has a barn, he's going to build a barn because it's the cheapest way to do it, right? He's going to build that barn that way. No, we should be able to make sure that that barn is built and designed and optimized for that cow, whether it's a greenfield project or whether it's a retrofit. In fact, VES-Artex has taken this to the next step, and this is where Turntide has come in and helped out a lot. What Intelligent Barn is it's able to take all of that environmental data and all those environmental outputs and not just basically automate it, right? There are systems that do that today. It's being able to take the lights, the misting system, the cooling system itself, the ventilation system, and automate it, yes. But when it's automated, be able to take all of that sensor data from the ambient temperature, the inside of the barn temperature, down to THI, understand that and be able to give reports. So we can report on that cow's environment throughout the day, throughout the night. We have a history of it because it's cloud-based, so you can go back and see that. It's a good first step, right? It's a good first step to understand is if we can understand what that environment is, how it works for her, how it doesn't work for her, and optimize it, it's a good way to start. But we know it's not enough. We know it's not enough because we can modify and maximize the environment as much as we want. What are we really missing down to the granular level? That data that most dairymen are already keeping. The data on the cow itself, right? So I always go, see if my little clicker works here. So I always go is, what's being collected from the cow today? And most farms anymore, specifically within the last 10 to 15 years, now have a mountain of data that they can get out there, right? Most dairy farms are data rich but decision poor. And what I mean about that is, we now have, you guys can go around this entire room and see all of the different sensor systems you can get. You can literally check every functional area on that animal or even the inputs and outputs to a point, right? I can see her body score, I can see what is she producing, how good a quality it is, I can see how is she eating, what's her actual intake, how much lameness does she have, what's her hoof health. That's great, that's cool, that's neat. You can see some basically direct information. What's missing? Where and what's missing is the next step, and it's what we want to talk about. It's taking all of those different data streams and tying them together. Does everybody agree on a dairy farm just about everything is related? Does everybody agree on that? If you think about it, almost everything is related, right? All of these systems are related together. Today, there is not a good way to see easily and understand what those correlations are. because they are all correlated. Value is driven from those correlations and being able to see that, right? So that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we want to optimize. Most guys today have some form of DHI, right? Whether it, whatever it is, I won't say any specific brands, but they can see some general correlations. But interrelated, integrated correlations are the next step, and it's what we need to get prepared for. So, going out to a dairy farm, what do you typically see the guy do or talk about when he's talking about looking at all the correlations on a farm? It's one of two things. He either doesn't look at it at all, which is a problem, or the second one is he talks about playing the Excel cell transfer spreadsheet game, right? Where he goes through there, then hopefully maybe has an app or some other calculations where he can see some correlations there. Great, that's cool. What does that take up a lot of? Time. Time, and time is money. Now, he may have his nutritionist, he may have his vet, he may have some consultants that also feed into that, take that information and do it for him. That takes money, that takes time, and there's only so many vets, there are only so many nutritionists that can keep up with them, right? Being able to do it on your own runs into the problem of raw data is raw data. It's that value you add by seeing those correlations is where the money is made, right? To do it on yourself, by yourself, is hard. All the data ecosystems, whatever it is, whether it's a cow collar, camera, so on and so forth, all of those systems are complex. And seeing those correlations take algorithms. So algorithms, to say it in a simple way, right? Hard form, long math. They can be deep. So to do that by yourself, I would say, is not impossible, but really Herculean. It shouldn't be that hard. It needs to be simpler if we're going to see the dairies taken to the next level, right? So understand that. Understand that they're complex and they take up time. Once we understand that, we also have to understand something about data itself. Everybody's heard garbage in, garbage out. I'm going to add to it value in, value out. It really is the same, right? So it starts with data collection on a farm. Data collection, you're looking at a lot of different points out there, again, from all those different sensors. Some very simple things, and this is true in any kind of sensor. If a sensor is not installed correctly, if it's not installed, it's not the right distance, it doesn't have the right parameters, if it's dirty, and if it's not calibrated, how useful do you think that information is? You might as well not even be doing it, right? So that's what's understanding. Garbage in, garbage out. You have to make sure that that quality of the data is at a high rate, 80+%, or else you might as well just nix the batch. There are scrubbing systems that some people use. If you go to different sensor companies and go to their API and go to their user interface, they do scrub the data. It can only take so much, right? It can only take so much before the quality degrades too much. So understanding that and making sure there's a step change to your dairy. Typically it would be the fact that you've got to have a cleaning and maintenance system on the sensors themselves. How often does that happen today? Very, very little, right? It's always overlooked. They're caring about keeping the girls healthy and clean. Great, cool. Keeping let's say the barn maybe functional, but it's got to go to that next level if you're going to be able to do the next step, okay? So, and again, it's important to understand that data doesn't have to be perfect at all times, but it's got to be that 80+% if we're going to make use of it. So, top-level managers, something VES-Artex talks about a lot. We want to focus and we want to work with top-level managers. Why? Because those are the people that want to make themselves better. Pretty simple, right? They want to make themselves better. They want to make their operation better. They want to make sure that their cows are being cared for the best, they have the best well-being, they'll be able to produce the best, highest quality milk for the consumer. It's a great idea. Problem gets to be what? What does it take to be a top-level manager? This is the feedback part of the session. Training, coaching, effort, time. It takes caring. Does everybody agree with that? It takes caring to be a top-level manager. Not everybody's going to be a top-level manager. However, for those people that are top-level managers and to make top-level managers, it takes another thing. It takes really focusing on that animal, right? On that animal in a couple different ways. And understanding this, there's actually a correlation with something else done in the ag industry. And if you guys ever been around row crops, so growers and such and forth, they actually have a very high rate of precision ag in the United States. It's somewhere around 82 to 83% now of corn or bean farmers in the United States are using precision ag. Now it's very simple precision ag. Mostly it's like auto track, right? So I can repeat where I'm going back and forth. High take rate. The next level is correlated data. So it's data where that real value added, that farmers will pay for, right? It's being able to go out there and make whatever, fertilization prescription max down to a 1/4 acre rate or less, right? It's making variable rate seedings. All of that is, number one, hard to do. And it's specifically been hard to do in the last couple of years, up until the last couple of years, because all the companies didn't want to play together. They didn't want to share their data. They didn't want to be able to transfer that. That's getting better. That's getting better, and you see the take rate going up. However, it's still around, what do you want to guess? How many guys are out there making variable rate maps and stuff like that, corn growers? It's 80 to 82% are using precision ag. It's less than 15% are using that next level. Now, do you think that 15% that are using that, are they on the top or are they on the bottom of the scale of growers out there? They are on the tippy top. They are on the tippy top, and they are able to take that value and utilize it. They're going to get, again, they're going to be able to optimize the cost in their operation, and they're going to be able to maximize that value. It's good to understand that this is what we have to do for dairy. In my opinion, it's the only way to get to that next level. We cannot do it manually. We've got to be able to work together and integrate. So with that being said, there are all sorts of different aspects that I will say us as VES-Artex are looking to integrate. Again, all focused around her. And I would say it's focused on a couple different things. It won't be just one monumental step change, right? We're going to go look at the herd, then take it down to pens, and then probably take it all the way down to that individual cow to maximize her effectiveness. Make sure she's well cared for again, and that she's producing the most she can. And it takes literally the whole kingdom to figure this out, right? You've got to get, are you feeding her? Are you getting her water right? Is her environment set right? Then the next level is all that data you're collecting, on how she's being cared for, all the different management systems that you're using, is it making sense? Are there huge discrepancies that you can find, that software can find to be able to tell you, you need to make, as a recommendation, you need to make this change? When that change is made, the next step and the most important step is when that change is made and you agree to it, how does it automatically do it? Nobody likes to manually do anything, right? That next step is automatically making those changes so they all work together. A value for dairymen is going to be measured in a couple different ways. And I always say it's measured in intrinsic. What I mean by that is you can see some of this as in its data on a sheet. You can see the changes from your feed quality, the feed ration mix, so on and so forth, to raw milk production, right? Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. There's not a lot to it. Taking it at a deeper level and being able to understand that, it takes a couple things. The biggest one is it takes acceptance of the dairyman to do this, right? Not everybody is going to believe everything right off the bat. It takes time, and it takes being able to get down to that. Part of it is if they are open to optimization, if they're open to change, being able to see this is going to make both large changes in terms of those things that are linked, and even small changes that start to get to be large changes over time. Again, there are 3 ways to maximize your dairy that you're looking out for, right? You're looking around for the operational day-to-day. That's the biggest time suck on a dairy. 80+% is really focused on your day-to-day. There's medium, more like the tactical. What are we going to do in the next month, 2 months, 3 months? And then there's strategic, long-term changes, long-term improvements that we can actually make us better. I told you the first one, 80% is really focused day-to-day. How much do you think is focused on strategic? It's about 2%. 2% is really focused on that. That's a problem. Any more as dairies get larger, they have a better workforce, hopefully, and or a simplified operating system, they should be focused almost flip-flop on it. They should be focused on the strategic, long-term things. To do that, you've got to have a good base. So understanding that, again, they're not going to be able to solve every problem. They should focus their KPIs on those things that they can solve and then be able to see from there. You don't have to be a statistician. I think this one always scares a lot of people. It has, I will tell you, on the row crop side, you are and you can potentially see a lot of statistics. You don't necessarily have to be a statistician to understand a lot of them, right? Because a lot of softwares, we hope, will be able to understand that and make it simpler. I will tell you however, in almost anything, if you understand statistics, all it's going to do is improve your chances to be more successful in this. some things that I would say, hopefully, what can we be done going forward? So what changes can you make on your daily operation to make yourself more effective? Hopefully it'll change. So the first one, that first point is by far the hardest thing. Be open to optimization. Just because Daddy did it like this doesn't mean we have to continue to do that, right? So be open to optimization, be open to change. It's gonna take some time to understand, and you have to understand today, as you're utilizing these different systems, whether it's your feed management system, your herd health system, your manure management system, what are your KPIs? What are your most important things from each of those today? Have you plotted those out? Do you really understand that? Then the next step is all of those different things, right? Start thinking about, really, is it important to understand all of those other different systems? If they could talk to each other, and if I could transfer that data automatically and it would be able to see those correlations, what real value would be there? I think you might be shocked if you saw that on a day-to-day basis. Again, track how much of your time is being wasted playing the Excel spreadsheet game. I think it's a lot higher for most people than most would necessarily think. This is also important. Almost everything going forward, and when we start talking about transferring large amounts of data and seeing those integrations and those correlations, everything's going to be cloud-based, folks. It's the way it is. It has to be in a lot of cases, and it should be, because it makes updating and simplifying things a lot easier, right? So it's going to be more and more important as we go forward to make sure that you've got good internet. There are some awesome solutions from the tech side that are working their way down. So it used to be kind of crap, getting crap internet out there, you know, away from a good, strong Ethernet signal. You're going to see low Earth orbiting satellites in the next couple of years give you up to gigabyte plus internet speeds anywhere in the world. So I think that'll really revolutionize this. And then, yeah, that last one is, like I said, is set those KPIs to understand those individual softwares today. Understand those and really look for those correlations. And I would say with each of those software manufacturers, please ask them when you talk to them, be open. VES-Artex, we want to work with anybody and everybody. We just want to be able to transfer data, understand everybody's got to make some value off of it, but we want to be able to do that with anybody and everybody. It's up to you guys to help push that from an industry standpoint.